It's not every day where I can say I own every single figure in a toy line, but today is one of those rare exceptions because I just completed every single animated Tartakovsky figure that they released. If you know me, you know that the Tartakovsky Clone Wars is my absolute favorite piece of Star Wars media. I love the animation, I love the storytelling, I love the characters, I love some of the original characters. I just love it in general. And I especially love the art style. And these action figures, while they're not very action-oriented, they definitely invoke the art style of the show. And I feel like these are definitely made to represent and celebrate the art style more than they are supposed to be playable action figures. And you'll see that as we start talking about them, especially the articulation. So the back row is the bad guys. The middle row is the clone troopers that I've already discussed in their own video. So I'm going to gloss over those, but I will be talking about them individually very briefly. And then the front are the good guys, the Jedi. Unfortunately, they didn't make any battle droids. They didn't make Kit Fisto. They didn't make a lot of the characters that they should have made in this style. However, a lot of those that they should have made, they did end up making in a realistic style down the road, say in the 30th Anniversary Collection, Legacy Collection, stuff like that. They made a lot of the Jedi that appeared later on. And I do have a lot of those, and I will show them in a collection video, but I'm not going to get every single one ever because there's a lot of versions I'm not a fan of. There's a lot of weird ones. There's a lot that I just don't really have an interest in for the realistics, but when it comes to the animated style of the show, I needed them all. I put off collecting this line for long enough, and I got, if you know the situation, some people are getting a nice little chunk of change for it, and I decided to use some of that money towards getting this collection. Very affordable collection to collect. I already had all the clones, and all the other figures cost me maybe about $10 each. So as you can see, it added up, but individually, it took me a few weeks to get these. It wasn't too big of a financial hit. So let's talk about the bad guys first in the back. And let's talk about Count Dooku first. Very interesting figure here. He is very long-faced, definitely invoking the animation style. I love the separate color for the mustache in comparison to the beard there. Doesn't seem to want to get into focus because of all the stuff behind him. But yeah, you can see he's looking real great. He's already slightly dusty, even though I've only... Oh, that's actually not dust. That's like a... I thought that was a hair. But we're fine. Yeah, he has a little bit of a swivel there for that hand. He has an arm and a swivel rotation. He has waist. He has head, and that's pretty much it. You can see he has his lightsaber and a nice little effect coming out. I love the red on the inside of the cape. That looks so nice. I mean, it's very simplistic. It's definitely just going for the art style. It's not trying to be a super duper action figure. It's something where you display it, you put it on a shelf, and you're like, hey, that looks really nice. So yeah, I really do like this Count Dooku. It's really good. And one thing I should have started talking about before I started talking about the figures. Oh well, a little out of order, no problem. Each one came with this Star Wars Clone Wars base. I don't use them because they're very large. And I know I have them all for the front row and the back row, but I think I might be, let's just say I don't have them all for all the clones, so I don't know if I could even give them all to everybody. And besides, they take up so much space. Some of them kind of need it, but usually they stand up fine on their own. But yeah, nice little base there. It says Star Wars Clone Wars. You can use it with other stuff. I just have it there as kind of like the plate for, hey, this is Clone Wars stuff. Next up, we have Miss I Am Sith, which is Ventress. Hey, Ventress. Really cool figure here. Definitely going after the art style of the show. Definitely looks like Clone Wars Ventress. One detail I absolutely love is the separate colors on the lips. It just really works. And her eyes look perfect. She really captures the look of the show so well. The paint on the little tassels there on her skirt look really good. Her skirt is hollow. She does have legs underneath there. Should I show them to you? Will I get demonetized for showing you the legs on an action figure for informative purposes? Let's find out. But yeah, you can just see she's got legs and boots. Wow, look at that. You can see how she doesn't really have a waist swivel. She kind of moves with that. I mean, oh, she actually does have an individual waist swivel. Well, I guess I'm proven wrong there. She didn't really need one. But yeah, she has legs that are, you don't really need them. The skirt actually helps her stay balanced. She has that waist swivel, she has arm rotation, and she has a ball jointed head. So yeah, that's pretty nice. I did actually have this figure before. It was missing a head, and I actually used some of the little plastic fingers as fodder pieces for a custom that I actually didn't end up using at all. So yeah, I have like this fingerless, headless version of this figure in my fodder bin. So that's cool. That's great. That's interesting. And then, oh geez. Ah geez. Oh well. Next up, we have Dirge. Yeah, that's the reason why they come with bases. We have Dirge, and this is actually one of the only figures I already had before I started collecting the whole line, even though I had it carded. I still have that one carded, and I actually got this in a 3-pack with Dirge, Ventress, and Grievous. But yeah, this figure is really nice. I'm not gonna worry about picking them up. You can see the helmet there. He has the long neck, which is definitely character accurate. The paint's really nice and crisp, man. He has the lance, which looks really good. He kind of has the little guns in his holsters, but they're not removable. The sculpt looks really good. He's actually one of the heavier ones we've looked at so far. His articulation, very minimal. He has like this cut at the waist that's not very useful, but you know, you have that. Head rotation, and you have shoulder rotation. And wrist rotation, so you have that too, I guess, if you want that. So yeah, very minimally articulated, but still you can make him look intimidating. He can be, you know, intimidating and cool and dirgy. So yeah, there's Dirge, definitely a favorite of mine. And then probably, let's be honest, my absolute favorite figure here is the Grievous. So Grievous in the original show was an absolute badass, and I loved him. Definitely a better portrayal and definitely a better character in the original show than he was in Revenge of the Sith, and especially the Dave Filoni Clone Wars. He has a couple lightsabers dangling down there, and they're individually painted. He actually has a sparkly crotch for some reason. I don't know why his crotch is sparkly, but he has a sparkly crotch. He has a blue lightsaber and a green lightsaber, and he has a very nice looking head. Definitely looking like the art style. Looks great. He doesn't have a symbol on the cape or anything. He has a nice white cape. Very nice big feet. And he looks good. This figure was released in one of those DVD sets as well as single carded. So yeah, his articulation, he has a nice ball jointed head, which pops off very easily, so don't be surprised if you find this figure without a head one day. Swivel at the waist and swivel at the shoulders. That's pretty much it. Oh, and swivel's there. I always forget. They usually give these guys like a wrist or a forearm swivel, so that's good. I like that. Yeah, there's the kind of Season 1 version of Grievous. Oh gosh, there's a lot of figures here, and they're going to get knocked over. They already have, but I don't care. But this is the later version. I call this the Revenge of the Sith deco of Grievous. And this came in a DVD 3-pack with a Revenge of the Sith looking Obi-Wan Kenobi and that Commander Cody. Unfortunately, still doesn't have the logo on the back of the cape, but he does have red on the inside of the cape now, kind of like that burgundy. Definitely has kind of like the gray or tan look instead of like the blues and the bluish grays on the original one. I mean, same figure, just different colors. I don't know which colors I prefer. I love the blue of the first one, but I also love the colors on this one. I'm happy to have them both for sure. I definitely love having them both. And you can see they both look very distinct from each other, so I really enjoy that. Okay, that's the bad guys out of the way. And here, let me try to fix these. They're going to get ruined in about 2 seconds anyway, but I don't care. So yeah, I really do like this line. Let's just kind of talk about that while I'm fixing them. I do like the line. Oh, geez. let's set him off to the side, because I'll talk about him in just a second. I do, like I said, for the trillionth time, I love this line. Of course, as you've noticed, they have issues standing at times, but they do come with bases, so I can't really knock that against them. I just don't have the space to have every single one on a base. But yeah, they look nice and stylized, but they're definitely not action figures. They're not something you're going to want to pick up and pose and play with all the time. And the reason I put the lieutenant off to the side is for some reason mine is warped, and his legs, they're just kind of bent up, and he doesn't like standing up too well, as you can see. He's usually leaning in my display. But yeah, this is the clone lieutenant, and he's blue. He's blue. I've already talked about these. The articulation on these clone troopers is really basic. He has a ball joint at the head, swivels at the arms, and swivel there. He can't really, he can kind of shoot like that, but he's kind of meant to just stand there with his rifle kind of pointed up, looking cool. He has a fist hand, so I mean, he could punch if you want him to punch. I know I had the Standard Trooper and Fordo growing up, so I did kind of play with these a little bit, but they're not very, you know, they're kind of static figurines. That's how I treat them. So there's the Lieutenant, and then the Captain, same story, but he's red. I do like the color of red a lot, though. Notably, they did not make the Sergeant, which is upsetting. This is one of the few times where they made 3 out of the 4. Usually they stop at 2, which is unfortunate. But hey, at least we got those. And we also got a Commander. These guys, they don't even appear in the show as far as I know. These are kind of repaints for the sake of selling repaints, which is interesting that these figures are not really authentic to the show. They just exist as toys. I don't remember seeing any of these guys in the show, any of the commanders or officers. But we do have the yellow one there. We do have the Commander. And then we have the star of the show, the boss, the big man, the most badass clone of all time, Captain Fordo. I love him. This is definitely one of my favorite figures in the whole series. I love how he has kind of... You can have him with the gun, one of his guns in his hand there. You can have him doing that. It does look cool. But I also love it as a gesturing, because he actually has 2 fingers up. So it's like he's doing all the gestures he did in the show. His helmet sculpt is actually unique looking, which is interesting. But he does kind of have the same red color as the Captain. His articulation, swivel, swivel, ball joint swivel, pretty standard. I love... See, look, he fell. The Lieutenant fell off camera. I love the dynamic look of the skirt. He looks great. I love him. He is just one of the best. And then... the White Trooper, do I even need to take him out? He's the Trooper, but he's white. Look, he is a plain White Trooper. Isn't that great? Isn't that exciting? Wow, look, he's a plain White Trooper. And then my boy, Commander Cody, my favorite iteration of his armor. Not my favorite figure of him, because he's very basic, same articulation. But yeah, he is Phase 2 armored up. He has the big old jetpack. He's got the floodlights on the helmet. He has a brand new torso, with the jetpack and the blaster right there and a brand new helmet. But all the other pieces are shared from the other figures. So Cody's really nice. And then we have a standard Phase 2 Trooper. The only difference with him, he does have some slight difference in the paint for the belt from the normal White Trooper, so look out for that. But his main thing is that he just has a Phase 2 helmet. Which I appreciate they made this, I really do. But at the same time, it would have been nice if we got like that. Or a Phase 2 Fordo, or maybe Sassy Tin's clone captain. That would have been nice to get, because Sassy Tin kind of had his own Fordo looking guy. Are you gonna stand? There we go. Speaking of Sassy Tin, let's get on to the Jedi. We're actually going to talk about Sassy Tin before we talk about Obi-Wan. Sassy Tin is a repaint of Obi-Wan Kenobi. He uses one of General Grievous's green lightsabers. That lightsaber right there is the same as this one. His only new part is his head. And he came in a DVD 3-pack with the Phase 2 Trooper and the tattooed Anakin you'll see in just a minute. But yeah, he's pretty nice. His articulation, he has swivels at the arms, swivel at the waist, swivel at the head. That's all you get. But yeah, it's cool. We got a Sassy Tin, even though I wish he was the cool armored up version. We did get the armored up version in a realistic action figure, so at least we got one. But still, it would have been way cooler to see it in the animated form. And then we have an animated Yoda. This is kind of from earlier on in the series when he kind of has some extra armor and stuff going on. Yeah, he's looking nice. He's got his lightsaber. He can kind of point it, or he can kind of do a Naruto run. It actually looks kind of cool, honestly. Kind of having him like, ketamine I must get. Ooh. I've been watching a lot of those stupid Yoda meme videos. I'm sorry. But yeah, I like the lightsaber. I like the look of him. The head's really nice looking. It's kind of funny how similar the Clone Wars original Yoda looks to the Dave Filoni Yoda. They actually look really similar. But yeah, nice little figure here. His articulation's just swivel, swivel, swivel. He has no waist articulation because he doesn't really have a waist because he's a really tiny little Yoda boy. And then let's get on to the Anakins. Whoops! Here we have the tattooed Anakin from pretty much the end of the series when he's saving the natives. And I always forget the name of the species. And the slugs gave him the blue tattoos. Yeah, I really like how the original Clone Wars series explained the change of the metal hand. They didn't explain the scar, but they showed like Padme's reaction of the scar. They even kind of showed the conception of of Luke and Leia. They showed him losing his Padawan braid. And I love how the Dave Filoni show didn't really step on the toes of the original by showing all those things again. I feel like the original Clone Wars show actually showed things that are a little more important. Like losing the Padawan braid, getting the scar, the conception, changing the hand. It actually showed a lot of the changes of Anakin's character. And I love the tattoos. Not canonically anymore. But in the series, this took place right before Revenge of the Sith. So he has the Revenge of the Sith looking hair. He is actually, he has a new torso and a new head, but he is a reuse of that battle-damaged Anakin. I'll show you in just a second. He has a matte-colored lightsaber, and he has the golden robo hand right there that he loses by saving the people. He needed to put it through a ray, and it got blowed up. But yeah, his articulation is the standard. He has a swivel at that wrist, but not at that wrist. But yeah, he's pretty nice looking. I do like this one. And then we have the Ventress Duel. He was also in the DVD pack with Sassy 10. This was a single carded release, and this was actually the more expensive figure I had to get. He's actually kind of harder to find. I spent about a whopping $15 on him, including shipping. Oh no! But yeah, he's pretty much the same as the other one, except he has a different torso and a different head. He also does come with a Ventress saber, and his hilts are actually metallic looking. I don't know if you can notice that. He actually has metallic hilts. He has a metallic Ventress saber and a metallic Skywalker saber, so that's really cool. Yeah, he's got the cut on the leg. He looks really great, man. I love that they made a figure of that very pivotal moment in the series where he can... It was really reflective of Luke's almost fall to the dark side in Return of the Jedi. And then we have the standard Anakin, which is awkward. These legs are very awkward. I have owned 3 of this figure at this point, and all of them have these very awkward legs. Because of these legs, this is probably one of my least favorite figures in the entire collection. But still, he has the same kind of standard articulation, you know, what you expect. This is Padawan braided Anakin. This is pretty much straight out of Attack of the Clones Anakin. They don't want to focus in too well. But yeah, he looks good. I really do prefer the voice actor for Anakin in the original show than I do for the new Clone Wars. It just sounded more like Anakin. Matt Lanter, like, he does a good job, but it just doesn't sound like Anakin to me. And then, straight out of Attack of the Clones, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi. We've already seen the body with Sassy Tin, but he has his own unique Obi-Wan Kenobi saber. He's looking good. I mean, it's the Sassy Tin mold, same articulation. But he has a very Attack of the Clones looking Obi-Wan Kenobi head. And yeah, that looks nice. And then we have the Revenge of the Sith version. Oh my gosh. We're almost done, don't worry about it. We have the Revenge of the Sith version that came with the Grievous and the Cody. And if it gets in focus, please, you can see definitely more Revenge of the Sith looking head. I honestly prefer... I like them both, I really do. He looks cocky and he looks very stern. I like them both for different reasons. I like the richer color of the tunic, too, on this one. So yeah, I really can't tell you a favorite out of those. And then we saved not one of the best for last, but one of the cooler ones for last. Definitely one of the most badass Jedi. Samuel L. Jackson, Mace Windu, right here, with his very weird-looking head. It looks cool, though. I like the raised eyebrow, very Sam Jackson looking. He has the Clone Wars armor, which is actually interesting. That yeah, he has the armor, and they didn't make an armored Obi-Wan. He has his purple lightsaber that looks great. I love the look of the purple saber. He has pretty much same standard articulation. Ah, geez. Right at the end. Oh, gosh. He has the swivel at the wrist, swivel there, and actually not a lot of waist on Mace Windu here. But yeah, Mace Windu's looking good. And with that, we have the, once again, knocked over, for what, the 3rd time? Usually I would just cut away, but you know what, man? I've noticed that if I spend all that time trying to fix them and cut away, I'm not going to get more views for it. It's just going to be a waste of time. So I'm just, oh gosh. Let me tell you, lightsabers and long rifles are a very big pain to work around in a display and on a shelf. Fun fact. So yeah, let's get them all together again. But there we go. That's for the most part. Actually, not for the most part. For its entirety, all of the original Tartakovsky Clone Wars clone figures. Or not just clones, all of them. Jeez, I'm so used to saying every clone ever. There we go. Alrighty, that's it. That's all of them. Phew! Quite the video. Quite the long endeavor. I have filmed a lot of videos so far today. But I'm going to film probably a couple more, and then I'll call it a day. There we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at every single Tartakovsky original Clone Wars action figure they released. Really love this collection, man. This is one of the few toy lines I've 100% completed. Of course, like I said, some characters were released in other ways, but they're the identical figures. Like, say, there's an Anakin Obi-Wan Fordo 3-pack, but you can also get them individually. There's the Ventress Dirge Grievous 3-pack, but you can also get them individually. However, the 3-packs for Cody, Obi-Wan, and Grievous, that you can only get that through the 3-pack, and the 3-pack with the clone, Tattooed Anakin and Sassy Tin, you can only get through the 3-pack. But the other figures like Dooku, Yoda, Mace Windu, they were only released individually, as well as these clones here. So there we go, guys. That is the entire collection. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my social media links, PO box address, and frequently asked questions down in the description below. Have a good day, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.